There's something to be said about a short game that leaves a long-lasting impression. That's a great way to describe Fate of Kai, a clever new puzzle game that looks and plays out like a graphic novel. It's a bite-sized experience that'll take most gamers no more than an hour to beat. Yet, I have a hunch that its message will end up resonating with almost anybody that plays it. But is the short length ultimately a blessing or a curse? Let's flip through the pages of Fate of Kai and find out. This is the story of a young man named Kai who wakes up in a beautiful dream world filled with bright colors and weird creatures. Although he's initially confused by the unusual surroundings, Kai finds that he's being drawn to a buried treasure chest that he simply must open. There's just one problem. The moment he tries to take the chest, the chain connected to it automatically attaches to the boy's arm and won't let go. Forever tethered to this box, our hero is told that he must travel far and wide to visit the castle in order to be set free. This sets up a short but decidedly epic journey through the fantasy world where Kai will need to use his brain and instincts to solve puzzles and survive a whole bunch of deadly obstacles. We follow this adventure by reading the panels that make up the book, some of which you'll need to interact with in an effort to change Kai's fate. Through 7 chapters and hundreds of gorgeously drawn panels, we'll guide our hero through cities, mazes, and underground mines in a quest to break free of that chest and maybe, if we're lucky, see what's inside. We do this by interacting with the various characters' thought bubbles. A typical scenario will let you collect different actions that can radically change the outcome of events. For example, in the city, you'll be able to snag actions like jump, run, and accept, all of which can make sense for a number of the different situations. You'll also be able to dive deeper into certain panels to look at the backstories, or even change how enemies will react in later panels. But even though there are a number of different solutions that all make sense, there's really only one right answer that'll get Kai one step closer to the castle. It's up to us to flip back and forth between the pages to collect, dump, and arrange these actions in the right order. Something that is a whole lot more challenging than you might expect. The brilliance of this game is how first-time developer Trylight Game Studio adds to and shakes up the puzzles from one chapter to the next. There's a forest maze that you'll have to deal with at one point, which is most certainly a cliche of the fantasy genre. However, the way it's presented here is incredibly clever, fully utilizing the panels to not only show you the choices, but also the outcomes. This approach is shaken up yet again in the mines, where suddenly time is completely out of our control. You'll need to hurry and work hard in order to solve these puzzles, an added layer of complexity that you don't see in any of the other obstacles. Now, as you might expect, the real standout here is the visual presentation. From the vibrant colors to the unique character designs to the way the puzzles are implemented, I love the look of the art style in Fate of Kai. It's especially cool seeing how different things will play out simply by rearranging a few words. It's clear that a lot of thought went into not only the story, but also the many dead ends. I couldn't wait to see where the game would take me next, and there was never a point where I was disappointed in the artwork. That said, it's the graphic novel approach that ultimately limits Fate of Kai. Because so much of it revolves around these panels, it's clear that the trade-off was the length. Even with more than 700 panels to look at and admire, you'll still have no problem playing through the entire game in about an hour. And because you'll most likely see all of the alternate paths and fails, you may find that there's not a whole lot of reason to replay the adventure. I couldn't shake the feeling that the obstacles were limited by the art style, which left me wanting the innovative puzzles to be even more ambitious. There are just so many directions you could go with this cool concept, but I suspect that the game's style ended up forcing the developers to leave some of their ideas on the cutting room floor. After all, they're creating dozens, if not more than 100 panels for most of the puzzles, which has to be a lot of time-consuming work. On the other hand, it's because of these panels and puzzles that the game is worth playing. Fate of Kai has a really great story with an ending that absolutely blew me away. It makes complete sense and resonated with me so thoroughly that I suspect it'll stick with me long after I've forgotten the puzzle solutions. It's for that reason, as well as the innovative brain teasers and art designs, why I have no problem recommending this bite-sized game to just about anybody that wants to go on a stylish adventure. It may be short, but Fate of Kai is definitely sweet. This is an inventive puzzle game that is presented as an interactive graphic novel full of plot twists and intrigue. Rearranging words and actions has never been this much fun, and I loved seeing how all of the wrong answers played out for Kai. Yeah, I suspect that many will balk at the $15 asking price when they see the short length, but it's worth it for the gorgeous artwork and emotional story. Fate of Kai is one of those games that is gonna stick with you for a long time to come. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What comic book or graphic novel should be turned into a game? Look, it doesn't have to be a specific comic book per se. So if you have a character or a series, that'll do too. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, this weekend is going to be packed with new episodes of both Online Pass Replay and Defunct Games news. Followed on Monday with a new episode of Game Over and a review of El Hijo on Tuesday. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.